So it's Valentine's week. The big question is, was there any love in the Bellingham and Whatcom County real estate market? Hello, my name's Sean Hackney, Next Home Northwest, living up here in Bellingham, Washington, and this is your Whiteboard Wednesday, your weekly stats for Bellingham and Whatcom County. So let's take a look at all the actives, the pendings, and the solds and see what they reveal. So taking a peek at Whatcom County as a whole, again, these are residential. We are excluding condos for the purposes of these stats. So you can see in Whatcom County this past week, there are 146 actives, 262 pendings, and 37 solds. By solds, I mean they have closed and recorded and actually changed ownership with the county courthouse. Okay, so starting in our major market of Whatcom County, and that's the Bellingham core. So this is anything, all price ranges, again, residential only. Looking at actives 43, 107 pendings, and 18 solds. Very consistent with what we have been seeing throughout the beginning of the year. Bellingham has increased a little bit, ranging from the mid 30s on average, all the way up here until about the mid 40s. So you're going to see a trend. Here's the last three. You got Ferndale, Blaine, and Birch Bay. We're putting together as one, and Linden. So Ferndale, 28 active, 54 pending, and 6 solds. Blaine and Birch Bay, 12 active, 29 pending, and 2 sold. Linden rounding it all up with 9 active, 20 pendings, and 1 sold. So you can see it's a little bit of a broken record. We're seeing about the same number of actives across the board and a number of solds. But there's one underlying part that's, I think, very important to pay attention to this week. So let's take a peek. Okay, so now we've taken a look at the actives, the pendings, and the sold for Whatcom County as a whole, and then the 4 major towns that comprise the county. And it seems like we are, a broken record since the beginning of the year. Low inventory. The number of actives is staying about the same. The number of sales is staying about the same. But the one notable exception that I'd like to point out, because it shows you kind of a very important trend, is that of the pendings, especially Whatcom County as a whole and Bellingham. So let's take a peek at what I'm talking about. Here are the pendings from January 26th to today, February 16th. Whatcom County went from 200 to 262. Bellingham went from 70 to 107, which is significant when you think about the number of actives have stayed relatively the same and the number of closings have stayed about the same. So what's happening? So typically, agents, the current kind of mode of operation is in a hot market, we're going to list houses on a Wednesday, Thursday, maybe a Friday, expose it as much, get as many eyeballs on the property as we can, hold it over the weekend, and then review offers on a Monday or Tuesday, which is why I like to review these stats on Wednesday, is because we've given the time for all the new stuff to kind of get through the weekend and have an accurate idea of how many went under contract. And then we can also start to see this next week of new listings come up. So with that significant of an increase, what that's telling me for the most part is that the competition, all the new stuff that's coming on, is getting snagged quickly. People think that because interest rates are rising, which they have, I anticipated they were going to be a little bit later in the year, but they've already started, but it's not slowing down the pace. And so the number of actives is still very, very low. The number of pendings is going up, which means that those are just getting snagged quicker and quicker. So the competition is there as a buyer. There are people who want to sell, but they might be in a situation similar to yourself or others that you know who want to sell and take advantage of this market. But then what do you do? So here's my recommendation. If you even find yourself on any of the search sites, looking at real estate, looking at your values or anything like that, like it's even just an inkling, reach out to your real estate professional because you can start the process now. I think this competitive marketplace is going to continue, and you've got to have your ducks in a row. You've got to have a great relationship with your agent. You've got to have a great relationship with your lender, and ideally, they have a great relationship together because that's all leverage in presenting your offer. It's not all about price. Obviously, price is important, but it's all the other terms. And the sooner you start, even if you decide down the road, you know what, this doesn't make sense, you can know that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, and you can have a satisfaction with whatever course that you pursue. Versus all of a sudden that dream house comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, if only I would have been prepared. That takes some time. So again, if you're even thinking about it, reach out to your real estate professional. And if you are looking at going to a different part of the country, you're looking at investing in a short-term rental, maybe a long-term rental, or even a second home. I belong to an extensive network of the best agents across the country who work similarly to myself, relationally and not transactionally. I can put you into contact, make a virtual introduction to you, best of the best across the US, and you can interview them and see what you think. So feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to make that connection. Until then, this is Sean Hackney, Next Home Northwest Living, for this week's Whiteboard Wednesday. We'll see you next week.